Live from New York, it's BullHorn. I am privileged to have Howard Lindzen from StockTwits here with me today on our set at CNN Money. We're going to talk first about Adobe. Stock's just getting killed on the week guidance. What are people on the stream talking about there?
I think people on the stream saw this coming. The stock has been acting weak. This is the closed world of software right now is run by Apple. Apple's been playing hardball with Adobe.
Yep.
The stock's been moving around based on whether Apple says you're in or you're out. Today we find out that it has really hurt Adobe. It's a huge drop. There is no momentum in the stock. Adobe's an old software company that seems to be being bullied and pushed around by the new winners.
Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of people thought just a few weeks ago that Apple loosening the restrictions on the App Store would be good for Adobe. Maybe it would let Flash be more of a part of apps for the iPad and iPhone, all that, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But when you look at the guidance, they didn't lower it that much. Do you think Adobe's really in trouble, or are you getting that sense from the stream, or is this a case of maybe Adobe emulating Apple and trying the whole lowball conservative guidance, so then 3 months from now, hey, look at how great we are. We crushed estimates that you had to reduce because we told you to reduce them.
I think the game only works now since the financial crisis if you truly have earnings momentum. If you really trust your numbers like Apple does and they have real growth. But Adobe bought Omniture and Adobe's done some other stuff accounting-wise to help their growth. And when you're playing that game, I don't think it's as easy to lowball estimates.
Right.
And I think there was just a lot of weak holders in this recent rally of the stock, and they got crushed.
Right.
So I think Adobe has got some serious problems, and it goes back to the fact that there are these major winners right now, Baidu, Google, Netflix, Apple, and Facebook in the private world, and they are sucking out the profits from some of these old world. It's not a win-win anymore right now. This is a big win-lose scenario.
Right, definitely. One final thing on Adobe before we move on to our next topic. You mentioned Google and the momentum it has. I've been hearing some analysts suggesting that now Adobe could be so weak that it's vulnerable to takeover target. Maybe there's a lot of consolidation in the tech sector. Would Google be crazy enough to make a play for Adobe, you think, or is that just out of the completely out of the possibility?
Google has Google Analytics. I don't think there's much in Adobe that Google wants, especially with HTML5. Google, I own myself. I think Google's interesting because nobody's valuing YouTube properly right now, or Google TV. I think the world thinks Netflix and Apple TV are going to win. I think Google TV will surprise a lot of people, just like Droid. So I don't see Adobe fitting in there.
Right. All right, let's move on to our next topic. We're always looking for momentum stocks, and a lot of times that's in tech, but occasionally you get, quote-unquote, old economy stocks doing well, and what's older than tobacco? And tobacco stocks surging. What are people talking about there?
Well, I went back on the stream. I'm pulling it up here on my iPhone. And back in June 28th, we had a tweet as news broke that the Supreme Court rejects the U.S. bid for tobacco company damages. So there's the news. That's the catalyst.
Yep.
The Supreme Court is saying enough. So that day, Philip Morris, PM, and RGR.
Yep.
Okay, so if you look those up on the stream, PM or MO, Philip Morris, started surging. Flash forward to July, 3 months later, over 3 months later, all-time highs, long-term highs. The catalyst has been set in motion. The companies for years have been running because of the BRIC, the emerging markets, Russia, China, India. And now with that little less risk of litigation from the U.S. side, the institutions are buying the stock. And these stocks were hated for many years.
Some people still hate them. I mean, is it emerging markets enough to drive performance? I mean, when you look in the U.S., there's still this big backlash. Mayor Bloomberg in New York, it's been one of his big crusades. I mean, it seems like the only place that smoking is cool is if you're watching Mad Men.
Yeah, and it makes you kind of sick to watch Mad Men, but
I love Mad Men, come on.
I have to shower after watching Mad Men, even if I don't smoke.
Yes, there is definitely that, a lot of times, yes.
The difference here is Russia, China. These tobacco stocks look like they will just continue to run until litigation pops its ugly head again.